Hello everyone and welcome back to Screen Trends, and in today's video we are going to be going over the top 10 most expensive mistakes on Pawn Stars, so let's go ahead and get right into it. Number 1. The Shoeless Joe Jackson autograph. In the Season 6 episode, Say It Ain't So, Rick made another ill-fated gamble without consulting his trustworthy experts, shelling out $13,000 on a book he believed might contain the authentic signature of the baseball great Shoeless Joe Jackson. Rick couldn't have been more excited during the appraisal, saying this is absolutely incredible and speculating that it might be the rarest sports signature, period, because Jackson was illiterate. But despite the seller's questionable certification of the authenticity and Rick's own reservations, as he admitted, of all the sports signatures in the world, this one was the most likely to be faked. He went ahead and bought it anyways in case it was real.
Great. Okay. I'll meet you right up front. We'll do some paperwork. Okay. 13 grand is a lot of money, but a once-in-a-lifetime piece like this, I think it's definitely worth the gamble.
Number 2. The Willie Mays uniform. In a 2012 episode called Free Willy, Corey made the blunder of forking over $31,000 for what he believed was a game-worn Willie Mays San Francisco Giants uniform from 1961. But the red flags with this one were apparent from the jump. For starters, the uniform was pristine, a point not lost on Chumlee, and observed, he actually said, "This doesn't look game-worn." Willie Mays was a badass, and he was sliding around on the dirt and the grass. I imagine there would have been a bunch of stains all over it. That was a good observation on his part, chum. Also, the seller had no authentication paperwork whatsoever for it, which is never a good sign, but Big Hoss took a gamble and boy was he all kinds of wrong with this one. There were red flags everywhere.
$31,000, call it a day. Sounds good. All right. Chum, take care of it.
All right.
Number 3. The Wells Fargo Strongbox. In a 5th season episode called Corey's Big Play, Rick made the unusual mistake of buying something that he was unsure about before it was actually authenticated. He dropped $450 on what he believed to be a 19th century Wells Fargo strongbox, only to have his hopes of a profit being shot down by experts and the show regular Mark through the quote-unquote beard of knowledge, Paul Patton, who called the box a complete fantasy piece. Paul Patton twisted the knife a little more, saying it's one of the most faked items ever out there.
I didn't want to bust your bubble.
What, so you let me spend the money instead?
Now I can holler at you.
Number 4. Rick's $100,000 loss at the auction. If the world-famous gold and silver pawn shop can't retail an item, they always have the option of still turning a profit by sending it to auction. That's what Rick tried to do with several big-ticket items, including a 1940s Indian motorcycle with a sidecar and a Vic flick owned and played Fender Stratocaster, which he put on the block at Julian's Auctions in LA according to the Indie Channel. Unfortunately, he took a hit for $29,000 on the motorcycle and $35,000 on the guitar. Ouch. He must not have done well with some of the other items either, because he reported his total loss at around $100,000. Number 5. Blindsided by the Bayou. An anonymous insider said that the boys from Las Vegas felt blindsided when the History Channel actually launched Cajun Pawn Stars in 2012. According to TMZ, the network had promised no spin-offs that would actually be produced, so why would it need another show when the 24-hour operation in Nevada was its cash cow? The History Channel actually called the new edition a southern spin on the original, selling vintage cars, firearms, and even livestock. Neither the network nor Harrison commented publicly on the tension, but former Pawn Stars manager Wayne Jeffries said that he was the mole that actually talked to TMZ, and he said he got fired for it. Cajun Pawn Stars lasted only a year, while the original is still kicking with a new episode out in 2016. Number 6. Stolen Diamonds. In a History Channel segment in 2010, Rick Harrison actually discussed the time that he was cheated by a girl's best friend. A man in a sharp suit was looking to pawn a pair of diamond earrings. Harrison asked all the right questions, the seller gave all the right answers, and he even had a receipt for it. Harrison forked over $40,000, but 3 days later, the police showed up and the jewelry was actually stolen. The victim got her diamonds back and the criminal paid the price, but Harrison was still out his $40,000. That was the biggest bust that I ever had in the pawn shop. He actually ended up saying this. Number 7. Fake diamonds. The late, great Richard the Old Man Harrison said that the fake diamonds have swindled him the most. When the cubic zirconia, a synthetic diamond doppelganger, first hit the market in the late 70s and early 80s, many pawn shops were actually duped by this. Nobody knew about them, and they were tested as diamonds, said Harrison in a History Channel segment in 2010. Everybody in the industry actually bought a ton of them. He said that he himself actually wasted nearly $30,000. Number 8. The Jimi Hendrix guitar. A lot of customers stroll into the pawn shop toting guitars, but when the long-haired seller claimed to own one of Jimi Hendrix's actual electrics, Rick Harrison got all fanboy behind the counter. If this was actually owned and played by the legend himself, this will be the coolest guitar to ever walk into my shop. He actually said that in a 2014 episode. Harrison brought in a local expert, Jesse Armorso of Cowtown Guitars, to examine the item. Armorso actually confirmed that the '63 Olympic White Fender Stratocaster was in fact played by Hendrix. It had the telltale scuff marks of the rough riffing left-hander, as well as historic photos, documents, and actually had a serial number that matched as well. Armorso actually estimated it was worth $1 million at auction. Harrison put up $450,000. The seller wanted $750,000. As he turned to leave, Harrison jumped to $600,000, but those boots kept on walking out the door. Number 9. When the old man was duped into raising money for a violent bike gang's legal defense. This one actually doesn't involve the Pawn Stars show directly, but it was rare when someone could actually pull the wool over the old man's eyes. According to TMZ, he once agreed to host a party at his Las Vegas home for members of the notorious Vargas motorcycle gang, to which he was actually connected to by his son Joseph, who TMZ also states has a big-time rap sheet. But that cause happened to be an alleged slush fund to cover the legal costs associated with a major bust the gang had suffered that saw 32 members arrested for quote-unquote crimes ranging from gun and drug trafficking to robbery. Rick insisted that the old man had no clue about any of this, and his claim was weakened slightly by an event poster that TMZ also dug up, which boasted Pawn Stars car collection on display. Celebrity appearance by the old man. Yikes. Number 10. Robo Ripoff. Austin Chumley Russell really wanted to buy a Robosaurus, a 31-ton, fire-breathing, transforming Tyrannosaurus Rex that feeds on cars, trucks, and small planes. It sounds scary, but the robot was made in the 80s, which now renders it actually pretty cool. I've never seen him this excited, said colleague Corey the Big Hoss Harrison, as the pair met up with the dinosaurs dealers in a 2012 episode, It's a Money-Making Machine. The seller actually said that it can be rented out, it can be leased out, and it can also do bar mitzvahs. It can do big, giant demolition derbies. $25,000 a day you can make with this thing. The asking price for it? $1 million. Anyways guys, that's going to be it for today's video. If you enjoyed, please make sure to like this video. Also comment something nice down below. Subscribe to the channel for more content like this, and we will see you in the next one. Bye bye.